Look, I thought we'll do another quick video on the correct way to check your power steering oil level will be included. We'll just cover a few others before we get to that. We've done the engine oil, we've talked about why it burns oil, where the oil's going. It's going out the exhaust, in case I'm saying that. Burning oil, it goes out the exhaust. Disappears, if you like. It's not those minor sweats you see around the engine. They're probably generally nothing to worry about. Just ignore it and give it a wash down once a year or whatever. A year's a very long time. Obviously checking your brake fluid levels is easy to do. You can see the minimum and maximum line, you can see the fluid, no need to open it and contaminate anything. Wash a bottle, just fill it up. Same with the coolant, you can see the full low line, right there it is, right on the full line, because that's how we roll, nice and clean of course. Engine oil's looking pretty good, it's done about 5,000 kilometers. And the last and most important for this video, since I said that's what it's about, how to check the power steering oil level, and a little bit about how important it is on vehicles where you can't see it, because see that can there, that's your power steering reservoir, and you can't see what's in there without taking the lid off. So this is where it sort of gets forgotten a little bit. If you have got a sweat around there and it annoys you, I replaced the cap on this one a little while ago, if you saw in the videos, and as you can see now, bone dry, you can touch it, where before every time I touch it I had oil, because there's like a seal in underneath the lid that you can't buy separately. You could probably make something up, but you know what, once again, it was about 40 bucks I win. If I get another 10 years out of it, happy days. And of course I've got a spare one there anyway if I ever feel like trying to make a gasket. I do these, try and fix things as well, trying to save you guys money. So happy days if it works out, and if it doesn't, well, I'm the guinea pig. Okay, so power steering oil, hot, cold, left, right, up, down. Let's talk about that. So on the Hiluxes and the Prado 150s and a lot of other makes and models, you'll see a clear container, and it's got the minimum and the maximum line, the hot and the cold line. Pretty straightforward. If you didn't know, when things warm up they expand in size, and then when they cool down they contract. So that's why it's got hot minimum, hot maximum, cold minimum, cold maximum. You'll find the, what is it, the cold maximum is probably the same as the hot minimum, something around there. And to be honest, if it's a little bit over, it's not going to matter. So if you do put a little bit too much in there, it's not a panic station. If you put a lot too much, it could get messy and push it out, but it's unlikely. I haven't seen anything like that happening. I've seen a few overfilled. The concern is when it gets low. Now, again, specific to the Prados and these sort of vehicles, quite often what you'll have is, you won't have a leak anymore. Your pump's down here. It's a vein, you got your vane pump, your vacuum pump. The vane pump is your power steering pump, and it's gear driven by the engine on these engines, and therefore the pump bolts into the back of the case. And so if the seal was leaking, it leaks into your engine oil. Okay, so that's one place the oil can go if it's low. The other place is your steering rack. Quite common on a lot of vehicles that the seal's at the end of the rack and it leaks into the boots, right? So you get a bit of oil in the boot. Now it's important to be careful where you take your vehicle and watch these videos. So subscribe, turn the bell on, so you know that if somebody says, oh, you need a new rack, your rack's leaking, it could be accumulation of oil in those boots that's like 5 mil a year, you know what I mean? And there's what, 30 mil in there for the last 6 years. Do you really want to spend $2,000 and get a new rack or some aftermarket rubbish into your quality Toyota when it's just pretty well standard minor leak? Like this one's been leaking for as long as I've had it. 2014, it's a 2008, so 10 years nearly, right? It's been leaking, no change. Is it the vane pump? Is it the rack? Is it a bit of both? I don't really know, I don't really care, but let's check the level. On these ones, they're a little bit harder to check than the clear one, because the clear one, you just have a look at it, park it on level ground, doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, but this one, they're a little bit harder. They've got the same marks. See here, see on this side, see it says hot? So the bottom of that edge where that red fluid is, that's the, when it's hot line, it should be no higher or no lower than that little cutout section where it says hot, okay? So we're at the bottom of the hot line. Let's spin it around if I can do that without hopefully making any mess on it. A little bit of oil above it, so it's not really, that's one that we need to wipe. That didn't really work out good for the video, but it doesn't really matter. I already know that it's going to be about the right level because I did check it and top it up before the trip. And the reason I remind you of this, because I neglected this one for a little while, and at one point I got low on fluid, and I think to the point that it might have been making a little bit of noise, or did that happen on someone else's car? And I went, oh, I better check mine, and mine was very low as well. but it's very slow over time. It's easy to neglect because you can't see anything, so you assume everything's right. So what you would do, because it's cold, you give that side there a wipe where it says cold, just gently place it back in without knocking it around. Turn it until it drops down like that. You don't need to, you know, lock it on or anything. As long as it's down like that, then gently lift it straight out with you if you've wiped it. And the only reason there's fluid on the side of it like that, because I've dragged, so I'm spilling fluid. It's running off the dipstick around this area here is inside the reservoir, right? It's a good little keep it clean area. But if you drag it along the side, you're going to get that fluid on the side of the dipstick rather than, so maybe wipe it, look at your cold sides this side, then put it in, do the thing, and then when you unlock it, hold it away so that this side doesn't touch, and you'll get a better reading. Now in this case we can probably see enough oil to go, well, it's certainly somewhere on the cold reading. I haven't got a rag handy, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I just wanted to have a quick look and remind you guys that it is important on these 120s and other vehicles, with vehicles with the power steering pump up, belt driven, then it's typical for a lot of makes and models that you'll get a leak at that front seal. You'll be able to see it. It's obviously untidy, so then you take it off, you get it, you know, replace the seal, get a changeover pump, replace it with a new one. In our case of Toyotas, a new genuine pump's often the way to go, because do it once, do it right, instead of going back every 2 or 3 years. I've changed seals on a lot of these vehicles, not this one in particular, but Toyotas, Fords, Holdens, whatever. And with the rebuilt stuff, the aftermarket stuff, and those cheaper brands that really haven't got their seals up to standard, you just find yourself going back there every few years quite often. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So you just get a quality brand like these vehicles right here, and if you do have the odd problem, it's only rare, then you replace with genuine. So you can get a seal kit to go through these vane pumps. It's pretty cheap. I haven't put one through yet. I've got them in stock. I've got a spare pump somewhere. We'll get round to it one day. I sort of feel like putting a new vane pump on this for that reason, but then I feel it's a waste of money because they're not cheap. I think they're quite a few $100s, close to $1,000 might even be for a vane pump. So therefore, this is why I'm telling you about this, so you can carefully consider what you want to do as far as replacement and everything of the vane pump or the rack, that sort of thing. This has got the original rack, the original vane pump. I've decided I'm not really planning to change any of it. I've changed the rack ends years ago at 250k, and that gave it new boots and clamps as well, because that's how I roll. And there's no playing those again at the moment. Of course, I've got some spares on the shelf if one was to break, that sort of thing. No good on the shelf if we're out on a trip though, are we? So those tie rod ends that don't break on, again, these quality vehicles, I should probably carry one just in case on a big rock or something, we hit one unexpectedly and one does break, so we've got a spare there, you know. So that's a bit about how to check your power steering, a bit about the leaks on with the pumps reservoir built together, but these are separate, so you won't see the leak, so it's not untidy, it's not inconvenient. A little bit of power steering oil going in your engine oil is not going to make any difference whatsoever. 7 litres of engine oil, 8 litres of engine oil, and 5 or 10 mil of power steering, you know, transmission fluid in there, it's just not going to matter, people, so do not worry about that. You can just give your rack boots a bit of a pressure wash every now and then. If you want to do a maintenance program, maybe every 2 or 3 years, you could take your rack boots off if you like messing around with those clamps, because they're a bit of a pain. You could take the boots off. You could mark your tie rod ends, count the turns, take it all off, take the boots off, wash them out, give it all a bit of a wipe down, maybe re-lubricate some areas. Maybe we need a separate video on this, but we'll get around to it. Busy. But maybe you don't need to do anything. I'm just saying, if you're worried about that oil, you wash it and it returns within 2 or 3 months because it just sweats through past the clamps. If you were to take the boots off and wash them out, you'll find that oil that's accumulated sitting in all those ribs at the bottom there, which does affect the rubber as well, but it's not a concern. That's why I say if you do your inner rack ends, then just do the boots and you get nice new boots. These ones, 250k, it's what, 430 something now. It's been on there for quite a few years. Mate, they're still looking good, you know. There's not much of a sweat there. It's just like all the other Prados we see come in. So if it's up to me, I'm going to save you money. Don't bother replacing racks, vane pumps, anything like that. I could sell you all that stuff, but just not interested because you don't need it. Hopefully save you some bucks. Bit of a long video checking power steering fluid, isn't it? Well, all that information goes with it. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button if you did, and bada bing, bada boom. If you subscribe with the bell on, we'll catch you on the next video. If you missed that one, you can always check the playlist. See you on the next one. See ya.